Okay, I want to just come back to this idea of the Tory party as a broad church, which it clearly is. I just wonder whether it's sort of turned into such a broad church that they're just not going to be able to sing the same hymns anymore. I mean, and that's very Brexit related, isn't it? Because the Conservative coalition of 2019 was possible because of a Brexit realignment. And I just wonder whether, as Brexit declines massively in salience, I think the last figures were sort of 8-9% who see Brexit as the most important issue. On what is now the key issue, economics, it strikes me the Tory party is very, very divided, partly as a function of that 2019 coalition. I remember in the past that the one thing you could point out when you pointed at the Conservative Party was a broad coherence around conservative economics, as we used to call it. Now that I'm not so sure about that, but is the Conservative government or the Conservative Party able to agree on the fundamentals of economic policy anymore, do we think?
You want me to handle that? Or
you should go first, Robert.
Look, my view is yes, actually. If you put aside all the noise of recent months, the noise has been about the big personalities and the impact of Boris's resignation has been like an earthquake, and there have been shock waves since, and aftershocks, and we've just had another aftershock yesterday, and these by-elections will be potentially another aftershock. But they're not actually, when you look at it, that really directly related to hard policy. I think in hearing the clarity of Rishi Sunak about inflation, people are reminded about the politics of Margaret Thatcher and Nigel Lawson and Geoffrey Howe in the 80s, about the resolute approach that was taken to fighting inflation, which then was won and underpinned economic growth and recovery that we saw for the thick end of the next generation. So if you like, this fight against inflation should be seen as a rallying call to all Conservatives in the Parliamentary Party to come together and realise that if we don't lick that, then we're not going to be able to do anything else. And all talk about interventions and spending government money has to come after the fight against inflation. So I think that I'm detecting much more of a sort of coming together around an economic policy, and that any arguments you're getting are really relating to perhaps legacy issues relating to existing commitments that are proving more difficult to undertake, particularly as inflation bites into the value of capital investments that the government has already announced. So I think in a way, the current economic headwinds and challenges provide the party, I think, with a very sort of clear basis to sort of cleave together and come together with a coherent message that is based on this. Do we want to end up being an economy with increasingly higher taxes to pay for a larger public service without a growing economy to help support this? And I think Conservatives ultimately would be saying, well, our priority has to be to grow this economy in order to get a fairer and lower tax yield overall, but one which pays for public services, as opposed to perhaps a Labour vision that would be more akin to a sort of Scandi approach with high taxes, public services that cost a lot, and increasingly relying on a smaller tax base as the economy doesn't, grow in the way that we want it to. And I think that provides Conservatives with a very clear message to rally around.